$1 million. Free to play. You just need to survive. It's the Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Pick one team to win each week. Get it right, move on. Get it wrong, you're out. The last fan standing take home a guaranteed $1 million cash prize. And for every player who joins, we add $1 to the pot, up to $10 million. The Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Play free on the Fanatics app. App access open to all. Must be 21 plus and joined by 9/8 to play. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. Void where prohibited. Subject to complete terms. See fanatics.com/game rules.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back. Let's bring in our VIP guest. That is Jack Ciatterreli. He, of course, is running for governor of my home state of New Jersey. Jack, how are you?
Great, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So, I was at the Trump rally in New Jersey, Wildwood, May of 2024, and I wrote a book on the campaign called The Greatest Comeback Ever. And Trump had said something, and you've kind of said something similar, but I'll read it back for you. Basically, what Trump said was, our movement, the MAGA movement, is more powerful than ever before because people now know what the alternative looks like and feels like and the way it governs. And he said, in 2016, you had to imagine what a Hillary presidency would be like. In 2020, you had to imagine what a Biden presidency would be like. He goes, now you don't have to imagine that because you've lived it. You've seen everything from high crime to open borders to endless wars to the Inflation Reduction Act, which did not but, obviously reduce inflation, and I could go down the litany of legacy items for the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. But I think in the same sense, when you ran in 2021 and we only had something like 40% turnout here in New Jersey for that race, and, not a lot of people were paying attention to you on a national level, I think you're not going to be able to sneak up on anybody this time. I think turnout's going to be higher, and I think as a result, now that people have seen the alternative as far as 8 years of Phil Murphy, that they may want to change at this point.
Joe, to your point, as I go around the state of New Jersey, people desperately want change. This is a change election, and I'm the change candidate. My opponent would be 4 more years of Phil Murphy. She's endorsed every one of his failed policies. And as we like to say on the campaign trail, she's Murphy 2.0, whether it's what's going on in public education, handcuffing our local police. Look what's going on with energy in New Jersey, with electricity rates skyrocketing. Overdevelopment, our rural suburbs, tax and spend policies that have increased the budget 70%. So people do not want another 4 years. They've seen 8 years of Phil Murphy policies. They don't want Murphy 2.0, Joe.
And we're talking to Jack Ciatterreli. And yes, Mikey Sherrill, when you look at her positions, and I'll just give one example, and I won't even say it's a small example because I think this issue was a big deal in the 2024 campaign for president, where she voted against the Protection of Women in Sports Act. And basically what that was is, hey, we're not going to allow men to compete against women in sports anymore. And unfortunately, I've seen it here in New Jersey with my daughter, who's only 11 years old. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's a boy playing for their team, and there wasn't much we could do about that. So to that point, her vote against that, I would think that suburban women in particular, when you speak to them, I don't know anybody, Republican or Democrat, that supports that. But apparently Mikey Sherrill does.
Joe, my opponent is trying like hell to portray herself as a centrist. She's anything but. Look at her voting record in the Congress. Twice, to your point, twice. She voted yes to allow biological males to participate in female sports. Now, of course, we want an inclusive environment, but we want a fair environment. There's nothing fair about biological males playing in female sports. That's one of those 80-20 issues in New Jersey. But listen, she supported Joe Biden's open border policies. She supported economic policies that made everything we buy more expensive, voted no on the Lincoln-Riley Act. Wow. So let me see if I get this. You came here illegally, you broke the law once, and while you're here, you committed a crime. So you broke the law twice. We're not going to detain and possibly deport you. She voted no on the Lincoln-Riley Act.
We're talking to GOP nominee for Republican governor, that is Jack Ciatterreli, and that's the thing. I mean, on the Lincoln-Riley Act, how do you possibly vote against outing and ousting illegals who are here in this country who are murdering, raping, hurting innocent people like Lincoln Riley? She was a nursing student just out for a jog at the University of Georgia and was brutally murdered by, I believe it was a Venezuelan illegal that was here. And to vote against that, I don't understand Democrats how, I know they reflexively have to be anti-Trump on everything, but there used to be some commonality and some compromise when we had Tip O'Neill, for example, working with Ronald Reagan in the 80s, or Newt Gingrich with Bill Clinton in the 90s. That Democratic Party doesn't exist anymore. And politically, you look at their polling, they're currently at 19% approval, according to Quinnipiac. I mean, that's as popular as gas station sushi, Jack.
And Joe, when you talk about that party doesn't exist anymore, take a look across the river. What's going on in New York City with this socialist Democrat, Mondami, who, by the way, my opponent endorsed. She's trying to walk it back now, but not completely. Let me say this for Josh Gottheimer, the Democratic congressman out of North Jersey, and John Shapiro, the Democratic governor out of Pennsylvania. They've condemned Mondami, not my opponent. She endorsed him, and then she accepted his endorsement. I'm calling on her to reject that endorsement. This guy's hate-fueled rhetoric only divides our community all the more and makes it more dangerous.
It's just remarkable that we have an anti-Semitic communist who never held a job in his life, by the way. He's only 33 years old, and he may be now, again, a communist running the most complex city in the world that happens to be the financial capital of the world. One would think, and good for Josh Gottheimer. He's actually a former neighbor of mine that lived only a couple of blocks from me up here in North Jersey. So good for him, good for John Fetterman, but there just doesn't seem to be enough moderates that are speaking up at this point out of fear of the left wing of the party. And we're talking to Jack Ciatterreli. I mentioned before the turnout in 2021 in your race against Phil Murphy, around 40%, meaning 6 in 10 New Jerseyans stayed home. How do you improve on that? And is one possible, not complete solution, but a big step could be, will the president and Donald Trump be campaigning with you after Labor Day in the fall when people really start to pay attention?
Part of what happened in 21, Joe, is that it was 12 months after President Trump had lost New Jersey by 16 points. Yeah. So a whole lot of people in New Jersey didn't give me a shot in hell, and that includes people around the country. And so one of the things that we were fighting in 21 was indifference. Because of the closeness of my race and Trump's performance in New Jersey last year, yes, I know it was a loss, but boy, oh boy, he improved by over 10 points and didn't even campaign here. People now know we can win. And I constantly remind people that Republicans have won 6 of the last 11 governor races in New Jersey. So, yes, there are more Democrats than Republicans, but there's 2.6 million unaffiliated independent voters that lean right. They're socially moderate, fiscally conservative, and they want change. And therein lies the opportunity for us, and I intend to capitalize on it. We're going to go 7 for 12 here. I really thought we were going to win it in 21. You saw how close we came. But this one's different. There's a whole lot less indifference out there. I'm not running against an incumbent. And guess what? Over the last 46 months, new Republican registrations have outpaced new Democratic registrations every month. Today, compared to when I ran for governor, there's 100,000 fewer registered Democrats and 200,000 more registered Republicans.
And we're seeing that nationally, right? We see a drop overall, yeah. Jack Ciatterreli, 2.1 million Democrats have dropped out of party registration there, and Republicans have gained 2.4. And to your point, Donald Trump lost by about 5 points in New Jersey, closed an 11-point gap. So certainly the state is turning more red. I guess my question to you is, you said that in 21, not many people gave you a shot. And it's true. I mean, I'm with Fox News, obviously, and I remember that we were scrambling to find maps, of New Jersey where the hot spots were, because everybody was concentrating on Glenn Youngkin and his upset down there in Virginia of Terry McAuliffe. And again, when somebody wins a race by 16 points like Phil Murphy did in 2017, I guess they figure, Jersey, it's a blue state. I don't think we have to pay too much attention to that. And then you were leading most of the night, by the way, until Murphy came back at the end when the city votes magically came in. My question is, will the RNC be pouring a lot more money into this race this time? Because that was one problem. They really also, like everybody else, it seemed nationally, seemed to write this off as just another blue state that's going to go to a blue governor. Will the money be coming in this time?
I can't speak for the RNC or the RGA, the Republican Governors Association, but I would certainly hope so. I mean, there's only 2 governor races in the country this year, us and Virginia. And I do sense there's a lot more attention being paid to New Jersey this time around. People were impressed with our run in 21. And let me be clear, Joe. I mean, we were in it to win it. My run in 21 was not about setting up 25. And I really thought we were going to win in 21. But I'll tell you this time, and whenever the RNC asks and the RGA asks, I tell them that there's something very different this time around. The energy is electric. It's all across the state. And I'm not just talking about Republicans. You're seeing a whole lot of Democrats come out of the woodwork with no fear of retribution that are supporting me. I'm seeing great support with unaffiliated independent voters. I'm seeing support in the black and brown communities that I didn't see back in 21. And that, too, is very, very positive development. And let's not forget, I mean, President Trump won Passaic County. He was up 31 points with Hispanic males, Latino males, and up 16 points with black males all across New Jersey. So, again, I think minority communities are coming to the realization the Democrats take them for granted and continue to make promises that they don't keep.
That's so right about Passaic County, which used to go to the Democrat by 30, 40 points, and then Trump won it by 5 pretty decisively. I'm glad you brought up black and Hispanic voters because Politico, and I'm sure you saw this, has a piece out this week that says Mikey Sherrill could lose New Jersey if Dems don't win back black and Hispanic voters. The sub-headline is a political analysis of election results show a path for GOP nominee Jack Ciatterreli, and it runs through the places Sherrill was weakest in the primary. So much like Zohran Mamdani, this is a candidate that has a big problem with what used to be slam dunk votes for the Democratic Party. What are you doing to reach out to those communities? I know we met a few years ago at my brother's business, Paterson, New Jersey, largely minority there, and a great opportunity because college is so expensive these days, and these contractors can get a great education at a fraction of the cost. And, oh, by the way, a job is waiting for them when they get out because there's such demand for it. There's my plug for my brother's business. But you visited and you were at that. You were there all day and you spoke to everybody there. That was one way to do it, I'm sure. But I'm sure you're making a more even concerted effort now, given how much illegal immigration has affected these communities.
You know, Joe, I've won 7 races in the state. Yes, I'm a 2-time business owner, full-time, employed people, created jobs here in New Jersey. But along the way, I've also had the privilege of serving 2 terms in the town my grandparents immigrated to 100 years ago, 2 terms in my home county for my whole life, Somerset, and 3 2-year terms in the state legislature. Again, term limiting myself each time. But the point I'm trying to make is I won those 7 elections in a town, in a county, in a legislative district where Democrats significantly outnumber Republicans. And I didn't win because I'm not conservative. I'm conservative in my views. But I go everywhere. I go places other Republicans don't or won't. And I talk about the problems that people are up against and what my ideas are to solve those problems. And that's always worked for me. It almost worked at 21. And we're doing that again here in 25 in minority communities this time. Why? Well, 2 things got in the way back in 21. Number one was the pandemic. You just couldn't get out and about, particularly when there's a shelter-in-place order ordered by Phil Murphy. And we know that the pandemic was particularly acute in urban areas. So we couldn't get everywhere we wanted to because of the pandemic. But I will also say that my opponent, Bill Murphy, was the incumbent. He leveraged the power of incumbency. And in so doing, really shut down the urban centers on me, even when the pandemic was lifted. I just couldn't get in. But this time around, people are welcoming me in. Was in Newark last Saturday. We'll be there again this coming weekend. Was in Paterson the week before, where that major water main break took place, where nobody showed up to show any empathy for what's going on. And my team brought in hundreds of cases of water to help out with the relief effort. So this time around, there's no pandemic. We're getting a warm welcome. But minority communities are waking up to the fact that it's been promises made, promises broken. Look at every promise Bill Murphy made 8 years ago. Educational justice, economic justice, environmental justice, social justice. Show me where there's been progress.
And that's so true. As somebody who lives here in New Jersey, that everything just seems to have gone south, and it would be just amazing if New Jersey voters decided that they wanted 4 more years of this. Jack Ciatterreli, you have a much better political success as far as – I'm sorry, let me do that again. This is a pre-tape, so I can do that. Jack Ciatterreli, your success on the campaign trail far exceeds mine. I ran for president of my class in Wayne Valley, and I lost to a guy named Tom Begley. So that was the end for me. I didn't come back, but you are coming back here in 2025, Election Day, just a few months away, and we wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for joining us here.
Well, Joe, let me wrap up with saying something. Who was my political hero, Abraham Lincoln, who once said, anybody who hasn't failed hasn't lived. And Lincoln was a profile in perseverance, so I find great motivation in him. But thank you for the time, man. I really enjoyed it.
I like that. That just inspired me. I think I'm going to run for school board or something now. I can't just quit after one. That's true. Thank you, Jack.
Don't you quit on me, Joe.
Ain't happening.
I'm not quitting.
No, definitely not. And we wish you luck in the campaign trail. Thanks, Jack Ciatterreli.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Morning Show.